Hello, everyone. My name's Joshua. I'm the founder and the director of El Terreno here in rural Ecuador, Atandahua. It's a pleasure to be sharing with you today two presentations. The first one from Quinten from the Netherlands, who's going to be presenting a presentation on his water project and reforestation project. Here in rural Ecuador, we're suffering, especially at this time of year, of water shortages. 3 to 4 months of the year, we're out without water for several hours during the day, as well as you may have heard, electricity shortages and other challenges that we face. And a large reason for that is due to the deforestation, which is found here in this region. About 95% of all the native trees have been cut down to make way for agriculture. So Quinten has been with us for 3 months, and this is his final presentation, which is taking all that he's learned and all that he's done, and also to show people that he hasn't just been going off and having lots of fun traveling around Ecuador, which he's also been doing at the same time. But yeah, this is a really fantastic project that yesterday, as you'll see, we were able to present to the community, and it had really positive impact and was well received. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you on to Quinten. Take it away.
Yes, thank you very much. So yeah, I will do my presentation about the project I've done. Let's see. Oh, sorry. So yeah, my project was about water, because even if you're just living here, you already realize that water is a problem. Can someone mute their... Wait, you can do it. Okay, so yeah, already by living here, you already realize that water is a problem here. Just you have water a few hours per day, like a few hours in the morning, maybe a few hours in the afternoon, and then at 2 o'clock it's already done. So yeah, water is really a problem here, and also because people are doing a lot of agriculture, it's even more necessary to have water. So that's where my project was about. So I will first give a small introduction about what my project was, how it got, how the progress of the project was, and then I will show the documentary. We'll watch it together, and then I will go a bit more into depth into the reforestation project, and then I will conclude my learning, my internship in the end of the presentation. So yeah, so yeah, I've done an internship on the topics of culture and ecology. And my main idea was to basically combine these two aspects, try to find a connection between the two. To be honest, this was a bit more, well, it wasn't difficult, but at the same time, it was a bit more, because it's sometimes difficult to see where like everything is connected at the same time, but sometimes the connections are not highly visible. So yeah, we started with an investigation with the three of us. Selina was here as well. With three of us, we did some investigation, was a bit more focused in culture. We did a lot of interviews together with people from the community. And important to say, we do an investigation in a community that's not the one we're living in here, right? It's a bit higher up. It's a bit higher up, so a bit higher, and it's a bit... Yeah. Yeah. So it's a bit higher up. It's a different community, and it's a bit of a bigger community in which we did research. And in this, we found a lot of different insights. And also during these interviews, we also realized a lot of people were talking about that they had a lack of water. And this was quite interesting, because we also had an opportunity during my internship here arose for a reforestation project, an organization that was interested in helping. So we started setting up the reforestation project. And this meant that we met with the Cabildo, which is the village government, and the Juntas de Agua, which are the water committees, water corporations of the community. And this was to arrange visits to the water sources, so we know where the water sources are, how they look like, and what we could do to improve them. So that's what we in the end also did. So here you can, for example, see a picture of one of the water springs, and here you can, for example, see the local population that's showing the water sources in their community, because in the end they know the water sources the best. And yeah, we are outsiders, so it's best to listen to the people who know about their properties, for example. And in the end, we are now busy organizing mingas. Mingas are basically sort of meetings in which people work together on something, and they also do this with working in agriculture. They, for example, one day they help one person and the other day they help another person. So it's really like a community feeling meeting in that sense. So that's what we're trying to set up, so the people can plant the trees, and actually the reforestation project really starts. So this is a bit of an introduction, a short introduction, but I think my video I made with the purpose of introducing and explaining this problem is better in showing what the reforestation project has been. So now it's time. I will send the link again in the group chat, but I think it's better if we all watch the video individually on our own laptop, because if I share it, it will probably have some lag and will not be fun to watch. So if yeah, so I think I will will continue again, because everyone has watched it, I think. So yes, I hope everyone liked the documentary, and I will go a bit more into depth in the project itself. So the reforestation project, there were multiple steps, and as already explained before, we visited the different water sources of the community, and because of visiting these water sources, we were able to plan and design different, like create different designs for every water source, and create also an overview in this on Google Earth. I can, let's see if it works. Because this is quite useful for people, for organizations, to show to them the work that has been done, to show online in a documented way what is happening or what is present in the community. So for example, this is a top of a mountain, and here it's very useful to plant tall trees, like already said in documentary. Um, this is how it looks like. And for example, aliso is a tree that's fast growing and is a tall native tree which can catch clouds. And catch clouds means that it attracts clouds, the trees, and as well take water vapor into it and bring it into the ground. In that sense, more water is taken up into the ground, and more water can be seen in the water sources of the community. And we also collected, when possible, for example, the data on who is the owner of the area, and as well, of course, how many trees need to be planted for every place. Then this is, for example, like a line in the top of the mountain, but there are also designs. For example, here, there's a design to have silver pasture, which means that there is more, that there are some rows of trees and native bushes in between the agriculture, because as you can see in the picture itself, at this moment it's just agriculture. And if you have more bushes and native trees, this not only gives more water to the water source, but it also improves the outcome, the production of the agriculture. In that sense, it's beneficial for both. And also in the design, you can also see there's like photos of every water spring of the community. And in that sense, when organizations want to see what's going on, or how much area has been reforested. In that sense, this is really useful to show to them. Let's see. Yes. And next to this, we also made an Excel sheet in which we presented, we calculated how many species of trees we needed. And that's, and also there's also the type. So you have trees, you have fruit trees, you have bushes, you have fruit bushes, also medicinal plants. It needs to, like the design, it's important to have different plants, different trees, like different heights, because the forest is mainly made out of layers. In that sense, it's important to not only have one type of tree, for example, or like only tall trees. And this was very important to send to an organization called CARE, and they helped in the project by supplying the tree species and the plant species we needed. So in that sense, this is really important to also inventorize it for them. But I also need to mention that we are also busy on working on maps, which are more useful to the community themselves, because they don't really, like an online software like Google Earth wouldn't really work for them. So in that sense, we're also trying to think of a way that they are helped and motivated to do the project. Then the other step was to do was to organize with the Cabildo and the Juntas de Agua to have those mingas, to have those meetings in which the work would be done. And here you can see the different presidents of the water committees, for example, together talking about what should be done and how it should be done. And this is very important because, well, otherwise the work cannot be done, because there are 10,000 trees has been ordered by the organization, and in that sense, there are a lot of trees to be planted. So the whole community is needed to plant to put this project in reality. And also, it's very important to remember that these people, these representatives, are a gateway to the community. They are the ones that can communicate well to the community, can motivate them, and put them into action. So it's very important to have these meetings with those people. So this is what we had last week, because those projects, that's also something that's very important. These projects take time. You need to have get the confidence from the people themselves to open up to the community. For example, in the beginning weeks when we did their investigation here in the community, it took quite some time before we really could start doing the investigation, because you don't want them to be feeling infiltrated by outsiders, by people from another country, for example. And then also very important and very exciting, which was actually just yesterday, which we had, was a community presentation showing the documentary in Spanish, and actually showing the people themselves, the people that may not have been participating in the other activities, to show what has been done, to also be more transparent and show what we've done. And as you can see in the picture here, a lot of people, like a lot of people came to this meeting. So it was amazing. Like, it was overwhelming, but at the same time was really, was a great part. It was great to be part of it. And in this sense, this is also motivating the people for the upcoming work that's in the future, well, in a month, basically, for them. And also after presentations, it still took a lot of time. That's also something to notice, like the meetings here, they are not as efficient as we would say, because they, well, take a lot of time. Like, after the videos yesterday, we spent like 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, talking, explaining over and over again how the project will work. So that's also a very interesting aspect of this. And also the different community members, the different people of the juntas, also did a talk to motivate the people that were there to be part of this project, because in the end it's their land, so they have the say in this. And this project is also not to force them to do this. So it needs to be out of their own motivation. So yes, that's basically what this project was all about. We will have some time for questions after maybe as well, but I want to conclude first this internship in its own, on its own, and also more general, because this internship really gave me experience in how to do research anthropologically for sustainable development, which is something I also realize now I really am interested in. So that's really useful. And I think even more useful for me is that I have more hope for sustainable future, because when I was studying in the Netherlands, for example, studying all the problems all the time is useful, but it's quite difficult sometimes because you're not really creating change. And in that sense, it's sometimes was quite difficult for me to accept all those facts. And now by doing this internship in real life, like doing a project, really gave me hope for a sustainable future, and like gave me hope again, eco hope they also call it. And yeah, I think that's really important also for other people to realize, like if you maybe feel bad about um, what's happening, like climate change or all the horrible things that are happening around, it can very help if you just participate in a project, especially in a community, I would say. And the third thing, which was really an eye opener, which I already knew a bit, but more and more realized here, is that personal interactions are really important. If you hear, it almost doesn't make it create an impact if you do if you text someone here, because people are just not used to it, and personal interactions are very important for these people. And this is very interesting, and I think this also goes in the Western world. We're shifting away from this, and I think it's important that we still stay with this mindset by just seeing each other in person. And well, this presentation is not in person, so that kind of ruins the point, but I would also prefer to present this in real life, for example. But yeah, it's very important to have personal interactions with the people in order to make such a project happen. And then the last thing, I think the most important thing that I also hoped to make clear in the documentary is that communities like San Juan de Judundongo have the potential to be the pioneers in sustainable development, because they have the will, and together I think they can achieve maybe even more than communities that we have in the Western world. So I think it's very important, maybe if possible, to go back to being more community-like in the Western world. And I think this is very interesting, and I really have a lot of hope. And I see a lot of opportunities for the communities here in the area to really be pioneers in sustainable development and show the world what they can do. And that's also what I hope with the documentary. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about. And if someone has questions, please let me know so I can answer them. And if no one has questions, that's perfect as well. Yes.
Quinten, quick question for me. What's been your favorite part of this experience?
Question. I think I have two moments, like visiting the water sources and seeing, like you begin just with my mentor Sebastian, which you also saw in the documentary, and maybe one other person, and you end up with a group of people like leading you around in the community, showing the water sources, telling about what's happening, what they experience. So it's really interesting to see that people gather while you're being in the community, and they are very open to you. And I think, yeah, yesterday evening, the meeting with everyone from the community, I think was for me maybe the memory I would remember maybe the most, because it was very inspiring and very empowering for me, but also for the community themselves, that they can really change themselves and they have the will. they show up at 6 o'clock. Well, they have been probably working from 5 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, and still they show up at 6 o'clock on the streets, waiting to watch a documentary and trying to make change, sustainable change in their community, even though they have like these very harsh living conditions sometimes, like I already said, like water, and like there are also a lot of health issues and other problems that El Terreno is doing here. And like, yeah, it's very inspiring to see that they still have the motivation and come up and show up and come with their children that are like 2 years old. And yeah, that was, I think, the most inspiring moments for me. But this feeling has showed like before, but then in like with with less amount of people, but the same will, the same motivation to show up, to do a lot of a lot of goodwill to change their community. So that's really interesting. That was, I think, the thing I remember the most, and I will take with me as well. Yeah.
Good question.
Sorry, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, so now that you're gonna leave after this time and you've connected with the community there, how does it feel to have to go again, or to move on?
Well, basically in one word, sad. Because yeah, yesterday, for example, everyone also after the presentation came to me, and yeah, it's quite very difficult because like even more with these people, like keeping up the connection is not possible online. So you really know you lose. Well, you don't lose the connections. You can always come back. Like yesterday, they also said, if you want to come back or visit us, you're welcome. You're very welcome. The doors are always open. But it's, yeah, you don't, yeah, it's very difficult for me, to be honest. Like these days, like tomorrow I will be leaving in almost the days I will leave. So it's very difficult for me as well, I feel like. So yeah, that's something that's, yeah, you really build a bond with them. And for example, this evening we'll also eat together with all the people that helped in the project.
And everyone else.
And everyone, yesterday we invite some people and they will also come. So that's also, yeah, well, hopefully have some closure. But yeah, it's weird to say goodbye, in my opinion. Yeah. Some other questions, otherwise.
Yes, I was wondering, what are some struggles you encountered, or like some hurdles along the way?
Good question. Well, we quite had a lot, but at the same time, you also have a lot of good moments. So in that sense, it's both, and the good moments really outweigh the bad ones. But I think one thing is really the difference in culture. For example, what we already said, like coming late to a meeting is quite normal here, but in the Western world, would be quite rude to be late at a meeting. So that was sometimes difficult to accept, and also to deny or to not feel how you would feel normally. And I think one moment that was maybe the most difficult for me was like, I'm a white man in a community here, and it's visible that I'm not from there. And sometimes I had the difficulty of, am I really doing good here, or can these people really just go on without them, or like without me? So in that sense, I had some difficult time with that. But I think during our project, like I also realized, like we really try to empower the people themselves and just help them with some things, but really let them do things themselves. So in that sense, I do have the confidence that we are doing good here. But yeah, I think this has been the main difficulty, because everyone sees you, everyone also is like, whoa, what are you doing here? Why are you here? In that sense, sometimes it was quite difficult. So yeah. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, perhaps I just want to reiterate a little bit on the importance of this project. it's quite difficult to know what it feels like to not have water if you're used to having it all the time. And then to have it turn off just when you want to have a shower because you've been out in the sun all day, or you just want to do the washing up and you turn the tap and nothing comes out. And how that really just affects the way of life and the frustrations and how it can hold back day-to-day life, which, you know, then can be part of the cycle of poverty. And we, you know, that's the shortage of water. In the documentary is also mentioned the quality of water, which is affected because when they deforested all of this area where the water's collected, they used it for agriculture, which means that there's chemical products, agricultural products going into the water supply, as well as they've got cows at that altitude as well. So the cows literally have a poo, and then all of the feces and the bacteria and parasites which go along with that goes into the water supply. So if you go to the health center, 25% of all cases in the health center are either gastrointestinal or malnutrition related because the water is not safe to drink. So knowing that you can't just turn on the tap and fill up a glass of water, you know, we provide bottled water, but again, it just creates another barrier and a more difficulty. And obviously for the local people here, it's a real issue and there's no government support really. You know, the reason why they're working in communities because these water systems are built and owned by the community. So the community runs it, maintains it. They have a leadership team which works for free to volunteer to manage it. They charge a small amount of money, which enables it to run. But, you know, they don't have any technical support. They don't have big government resources. And with the high levels of corruption and other issues here in Ecuador, it's a real challenge. It's a real struggle. And that's why we've got that. We've got the issues that have been coming up in this. So it really comes down to looking at alternative ways that we can take this forward. And Quinten's project is actually the third water project we've run this year. But Quinten's really built on top of the work that's been done by previous interns and has done a really good job kind of technically mapping everything. So both from the kind of technical aspect and leaving something that's really can be delivered to the communities and implemented by the communities in a simple way. And it's a perfect time of year because, yeah, we're just about to come to the wet season. So it's a perfect time to be planting. And he's been able to work alongside people to access 10,000 plants, possibly 15,000 plants to plant this year. So that's already going to be having a massive impact in the communities. And I think it was demonstrated how valuable it was by how many people turned up yesterday. I think there was probably about 150 people there from the community, and not just the one community, from the other communities who came, who are also involved with the water projects in their own communities to learn from what Quinten's done. So it's already got this ripple effect, which is beginning to pass out. And I was sat down with Quinten this morning, sat outside the Casa Comunal, going through some last minute things, and the bus from San Juan came past and one of the community leaders was like, "Great job," out the window, you know. So I really think that you've done an amazing job, Quinten, and you should have a big pat on the back. And you know, you received a lot of really positive feedback from the community leaders yesterday, so you should be really proud of yourself and everything that you've achieved. And this hopefully is a really strong foundation for you to move forward on as you move into a career of sustainable development. So we need more people like you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I hope that if I visit the place back again, that in 5 years or something, that there's a forest, basically. Yeah, thank you.
Any final comments?
No, one thing, I will upload the video documentary in one of the following days, and I will share it with because I will share it on another channel, and I will share it with everyone who's here. So yeah, you can watch it again if you want.
Great. Thank you, Quinten. Much appreciated.